Ooh, wow. Did you see this? Look at that. Wow. Look, you could even put your name on there. Oh, it's got the whole class list.
Inside. Sorry, you didn't graduate.
Yeah, that's
Just
funny.
kidding.
That's funny.
Unbelievable that you're graduating.
Yeah, tell me about it. Especially when I failed everything softly.
Still 8 instead of AGI.
All right, let's go to. We did page 1, right?
No, I'm gonna be pissed if I don't graduate and I paid all this money for it.
Let's go to page 2. Okay, number 3. Without using the calculator, I don't think we're going to do that in this class. I think we're always going to use the calculator.
Yes.
Okay? In this class, we will always use the calculator. All right. So, in your calculator. Cool. I still have all my graduation tassels and jewelry and everything. So, in my y equals, I am going to put in negative, put fractions in parentheses, please. 1/4, 1 divided by 4. Don't use a minus sign, use the negative key. Negative key is right down here. There's a minus sign, negative key. Minus sign, negative key. Minus sign, negative key. Use a negative key. If you use a minus sign, you'll get an error. Okay, so negative 1/4 x raised to the 2, or x squared, plus 5. Now, let's review from yesterday. We learned a couple of things yesterday, right? We know that since this is a quadratic, it's a quadratic because of the power 2, right? What kind of shape is it going to have? What do we call it? A U-shaped parabola. Okay. If you're literal, parabola. And we learned, remember our parent function? Y equals ax squared. And then at the end of the lesson, we learned about plus c. Okay? So a is actually what we call our slope. A is our slope. And we did a lot of work with that. Remember, if the absolute value of a, as it increased, what happened to the parabola? As a increased, what happened, the absolute value of a increased, what happened to our parabola? It got what? It stretched, right? It stretched. It got narrower. Narrower. And if you want to use the correct mathematical term, stretched. TCH, stretch. Okay? So looking at our A here, our A equals negative 1/4. Now remember, the normal, our parent function, y equals ax squared plus c, a is 1 in our parent function. So actually this is smaller than our parent function, right? 1/4 is, the absolute value of negative 1/4 is 1/4, is smaller than the parent function number 1, right? So what do you think is going to happen to that parabola? Wake up, Brett. Brett, wake up, wake up, wake up. Remember, as it gets bigger, it gets narrower. If we start at 1 and it gets smaller, it's going to get wider. That's right. So describe the width. It's going to get wider. And if we want to use mathematical terms, you could say it compresses, but I don't think we use those very much. Okay. Now, we also learned something else at the end of the lesson. We learned about that C. what did that C do? And in this equation, what did that C do? Here's our C. Yeah, it's the y coordinate, the point on the y-axis. So is this going to move my vertex up or down? Up 5. Okay, so it's going to intersect the y-axis at positive 5. And the rest of the stuff we didn't really talk about, but let's go ahead and graph it, and we can describe it from there. Okay, so I got negative 1/4 x squared plus 5. We graph this. We did talk a little bit about the negative sign. What does it do? Remember yesterday? Positive, 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 negative, negative. It flipped it, right? The negative flipped it. Makes it open downward. Okay? Because our A is negative, we know that it makes it downward opening. If you want to say flip, I'm good with that. Okay? If you say flip, way to go. Now, we talked a little bit about the vertex yesterday. Not a whole lot. We didn't talk about max or min at all yesterday. But if I look at my parabola here, and I'm looking at that vertex, well, let's go ahead and plot this, right? We know how to graph it. We did that yesterday. Let's hit our second graph button. And let's look for some points we can plot easily. Let's see. I'm going to use 0, 5. So 0, 5, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. I knew that was going to happen because remember we intersected the y-axis at 5. Let's see. I've got a negative 2, 4. So negative 2, 4. Negative 4, 1. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 1. And then I'm going to get some positive points. I have 2, 4. And actually, since we know, we talked a little bit about this yesterday, this happens to be my axis of symmetry, right? Happens to be the y-axis. I know that since this point is 2 away from my axis of symmetry, this point has to be 2 away. Since this point is 4 away, there's going to be another point that's 4 away because it's symmetric. It happens to be 4, 1. And if I look at my table here, it is indeed 4, 1. So here's my parabola. Now, by definition, we know that this point right here you gotta love Algebra 1 students. Okay, so that's my vertex there. This one's pretty easy because we know it's our C, right? We know that the y value is 5. We're not moving left or right off our origin, so it's going to be 0, 5. That point, ordered pair, is 0, 5. Now, max or min. What do you think this one is? Looking at the vertex. Yes, Sergio. Do you think that's the minimum value point of all the points on the graph? Yeah, it's going to be the other one. It's the max. Okay? It's the highest point. The highest point on our parabola. Now, if this didn't happen to land on 0, 5, sometimes it'll land on a whole number. A lot of times it won't. So, follow along. Guess what? Your calculator can figure out the max or min. Okay, so what we're going to do is you're going to go to second trace for some calculations. This one happens to be a max. Okay, focus on this. Put your phones away. Focus on this for a sec, because I guarantee you for the next 6 weeks, I'm going to get students, how do I do this on my calculator? How do you do that on your calculator? I don't know how to do that on my calculator. So, focus here for 30 seconds. Put your phones away. Okay. Focus. Put the video games away on the Chromebooks.
Look what he's doing.
I know what he's doing. Focus for 30 seconds here. Okay, so I hit second trace to get my calculations. This is a maximum. I'm going to highlight maximum, hit my enter key. And it's asking me here, see it? Are you to the left of that vertex? Well, right now I'm on it. So I'm going to take my arrow key here. Yes, I know. That's why I need your attention. And move it to the left of that point. See how it's asking me? Left bound? Is that left bound? Now it's left. So I'm going to hit enter. Now your calculator doesn't have a line because you don't have as nice as one as me. All right, so now get to the right of that point. It's asking you, am I to the right of that point yet? No, we are not. So we're going to go to our right arrow key. Going to get that cursor to the right of that point. Keep going, keep going. Doesn't matter where, as long as it's to the right of it. How you doing with this? How you doing, Sergio? How you doing, Carson? How you doing, Ahmad? Everybody doing okay with this? How you doing, Brett? Doing okay with this on your calculator? Yep. Levi? Everybody got this? Dewey? Matt looks like he's got it. Okay. It's asking me, am I to the right of this maximum here? I'm going to say, yes, I am, and hit enter. Then it's going to say, hey, do you want me to guess where that point is? Well, your calculator doesn't guess. It knows. So I'm going to say, yes, and hit enter. And guess where my vertex is? I'm going to zoom in on this. It's going to tell us. See? Now, it's got this really weird number like negative 8.01 to the exponent 10 to the negative 8. It's like 0.0000000814. Okay? That means your calculator is taking it out to a really, really small number. We're going to say, hey, that's 0. So my vertex is indeed at 0, 5. Isn't that fun? Isn't that fun? Isn't that fun? Isn't that fun? Okay, so you should be able now to figure out all the ordered pairs for all the problems because you know how to calculate it on your calculator, right? Because everybody practiced that while I did it. So in 6 weeks, I don't know how to do that. Yeah, because this is gonna happen for the rest of the year. We're gonna be doing this concept for the rest of the year. Well, that's the next sections all deal with parabolas for the rest of the year. So that's why if you have any questions on how to do this, and that's why I am really emphasizing yesterday and today, because this is it, man. This is Algebra 1. This is what you need to know to be successful in high school for the next 2 math courses. Okay? If you take anything out of this class, take the next 6 weeks. Embed it in your brains. You will be you will get a high school diploma and be successful in your next couple math courses if you do. Yes, you will. Yes. You will use this. I promise you. Algebra 2, you can't get through Algebra 2 without the next couple weeks here. This and factoring. All about quadratics. What? It's the skills. It's the building blocks for Algebra 2. Okay, this is Algebra 1. You can't pass Algebra 2 if you don't know how to do graphs of polynomials and factoring. You will fail Algebra 2. Guaranteed. So you've got to get this next couple months here. You got to get it down. It's not even a couple months. We're talking literally like 6 weeks when we come back. Okay, let's do another one. Let's do the next one, the very next one, number 4. Now, if you can do this without a calculator, great. Okay? Again, we're just comparing everything to the parent function. Okay? Which way is this? Our a here is what? 5, right? So we're getting bigger than 1. What's happening? Describe our parabola. Well, yeah, it definitely opens up because it's positive. But what about the width? It's getting bigger than 1. So it's getting narrower. Or you could just say stretch or skinnier. I don't care. Where is it going to intersect my y-axis? -4. So our vertex is going to be 0, -4, right? Now, if it's opening up, think about that. If it's opening up, it's going to look like that. There's my vertex. Is that going to be a max or min? Min. See, we can do we can answer all the questions without even graphing it. And that's what they mean about not using a calculator. So let's go ahead and graph this. I'm going to zoom out here. Okay. Go to my y equals. Clear it out. I have 5 times x squared minus 4. I'm going to hit graph it. And there it is. Okay. Well, I know I'm going to have my vertex at 0, 4. So 0, -4. 1, 2, 3. I'm going to go to my table and get some points. So second graph is my table. I know 0, -4 is my vertex. How do I know that's my vertex off the table? From these numbers off the table. Anybody see a pattern here? Look at your y values. They're the same. They're the same right after my vertex, right? So if I look at 1, its y value is 1. If I look at -1, it's going to be 1. If I look at -2, it's going to be 16. If I look at +2, it's 16. That's how I know that 0, -4 is my vertex. Now, it doesn't work for every equation, but it works for a lot of them. Okay? So I have -1, 1, -1, 1, and 1, 1. Now I don't have 16 here. I'm going to have to use the 3 points because it's pretty skinny. And there's my graph. Pretty cool, huh? Look at all your astonished looks on your faces from doing this. You're just so into this. So, I think you can do the rest on your own. What do you think? What do you think? There's only 4 of them. Huh? 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 What do you think? What do you think? What do you think? Anyone? 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 You want to do the next section? Because I know that, you know, you can do this in 5 minutes. But you want to wait till spring break because it's way too much information for the last day before spring break. Wait, guys, one at a time. I can't.